Your ex is now dating someone and you're wondering whether it means that it's over. It means that they moved on. It means that this relationship will succeed. In this video, I'm going to explain that in some cases, what we call a rebound relationship is usually a good sign if you want to get back together. I'll explain you the 3 motivations of people starting a new relationship very quickly after a breakup, and I will explain you what you should be doing in that case. Jingle.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So first of all, what is what we call a rebound relationship? It's a relationship that would start very quickly after the breakup, less than 3 months after the breakup. What it means is that there's no time for your partner, for your ex, to process the breakup. If you bounce back, that's why it's called rebound. If you bounce back from a relationship to another, you have no room for reflection, for introspection. And it's based on motivation around self-esteem status more than compatibility, right? Finding someone who's right for you takes time. And if you were to date someone tomorrow, who's not your ex, statistically, that person won't be a good fit. So statistically, your ex rebounding to someone kind of random cannot compare with you. And I'll explain the motivation and why they usually fail. And also the difficulty is to assess whether it's a rebound or not. So it really, and I'll explain at the end how to assess this. But if it's a rebound relationship, understand that the motivations are not the right motivation to build a healthy relationship. So let's start with the first motivation is to fight loneliness. And the idea of I prefer to be with someone than alone. Right? It's sometimes also the way you feel if your partner broke up with you and you feel lonely. And so what they are doing is that they start a new relationship to fill this void, right? But as I discussed before, the void is crucial. The fact that you're apart, the fact that you have to go through this phase on your own is part of the process. And right now, you probably feel the same. That's why a lot of my clients, a lot of people watching my videos are obsessed about how quickly can I get back together. But if you are in that mindset, you fail to recognize that unfortunately it takes a bit of time to process things. It takes a bit of time to process your emotion, to reflect, to detach yourself from the relationship. And your ex, if he or she rebounds quickly after the breakup, won't do that work. What you have to understand is a breakup is a learning opportunity. If you bounce back from one relationship to another, you fail to learn something. And what you can learn is where you have to learn is inward. Where you have to look is inward, not distracting yourself from someone. So yeah, they chose the easy option in a way to deal with the breakup. Right now, you have the right path. Maybe it's the difficult one, maybe it's the painful one, but it's the right path. Now, the second motivation is self-esteem, which happens a lot for people who have an anxious attachment style, but also with avoidant attachment style. Avoidant attachment style tend to have higher self-esteem, but still, when they break up with someone, they might feel the need to get a form of validation. The idea that, okay, that was not me because I could find someone, I could date someone. So the problem was my ex. So the rationale could be I need to feel that I can still be important in someone's life, or I can seduce someone, or I can have a relationship. This sort of validation and reassurance. And yes, dating someone will offer a boost in self-esteem. But what they are doing, they will obviously never admit that, but what they're doing is that they use this person. They use this relationship to get that form of validation, to get this ego boost. And also, and again, very typical of anxious people, to avoid that feeling of rejection. So when I talk about that sounds like it's only for people, for the dumpies, but it's also true for dumpers. Even if your ex, if in your case, your ex broke up with you, they still feel a need of validation. Okay, I took the decision to end the relationship. Maybe I wasn't happy. Maybe I got triggered. And I hope that the future will be easier, that I will have a better more fulfilling life or relationship. And so they bounce back right away to validate their assumptions about their new life. But it's very short-lived, and I'll explain to you in a second why it's short-lived. Third motivation is to avoid the pain, obviously. I can't deal with those negative emotions. I don't want, same to loneliness. But grieving is tough, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to go through that process. They bypass the process. And if they get back with someone, then there's no problem. The problem, the pain, was coming from the breakup. If I get back with someone, there's no pain. Therefore, I have no problem. Logic. But that you fail to recognize all the issues. And what will happen is that those unresolved issues will resurface at a later stage. When you start a relationship, usually at the beginning, everything is great. Novelty, excitement, passion, you love it. 3-6 months, it's amazing. It's hard for you to flex yourself to show only the best version of yourself. You don't have to necessarily dig deeper into intimacy. It's really living by the day, right? Especially if your ex is an avoidant, that's very easy to deal with the first few months of this relationship. But then things get serious. Then you start to see the other person. Then the passion transitions to compassion. When you start depending on others, when you start demanding things from others, when you start expecting things from them. And then what felt like a good option, what felt like reassuring, what felt like pleasant becomes a bit like painful. Because if you look at those motivations, they have nothing to do with any form of compatibility around values, around lifestyle. There's maybe sexual chemistry, there's maybe physical attraction, but that's usually the surface level. So how to tell whether it's a rebound or not? As I said, if the relationship starts within 3 months, that's definitely a rebound. That's for sure. Because it takes 3 months, more or less, to heal after a breakup. And when I say 3 months, I'm talking about long-term relationships that were what I would call like life-defining or really special. You don't bounce back from a breakup, even if you took the decision to end the relationship in less than 3 months. And 3 months is like the lower band of the range. It could be 6 months. Then after a year, you can assume that your partner has had enough time to heal and to face this phase on their own. Whether it's 3-6 months, I don't know, but understand the logic and the mechanism more than the timeline. Now, you know your ex more than I do, obviously, and you know what they like and what they dislike. So if you know more or less who this person is, usually what is very interesting when people talk to me about their ex's rebound, 2 cases, extreme cases. They either take someone exactly like them, and that means I don't want to experience anything new and I want to continue and resume what we left. And I would replace, I take you and I put someone else instead, hoping that things will be different. Spoiler alert, that won't be different. It wouldn't work. Or they choose the opposite, the exact opposite. So not someone like slightly different, the opposite. Thinking I wasn't happy with someone who was, an introvert workaholic. I'm gonna go for an extrovert who is, I'm gonna select a surf teacher or whatever. I'd love to be a surf teacher. Thinking, because I was not fulfilled or maybe there's something was not working, if I take the opposite, that would work. Okay? But they fail to recognize everything that you brought in the relationship. They fail to recognize the depth of the connection that you had. They also fail to recognize that probably took them few months, few years to find you. Right? The opportunity when it comes to rebound is that you compete to, a relationship that you started a few months after a breakup, where, as I said, statistically, it's going to be impossible to meet a person like you, statistically. And that's why it's very hard for them to succeed. because it's very hard to find the relationship that you had together. What should you do now? It's important, first of all, that's why I don't advise people to go no contact forever, because if you go for no contact forever, you create a potential risk for your ex to meet someone. If they meet someone, that doesn't mean that it's never gonna work out, but that will prolong the recovery phase, because you can only get back with them after this relationship fails. And how long this rebound will last? Usually up to a year. You have 6 months of like honeymoon. Then the last 6 months is like, oh, I'm fed up. So the recovery will take more time, and you have no other option than to wait for them to break up. And you wait for your ex to realize that actually that's not the right person, that's not the right choice. And to start comparing this new person, this new relationship with what you had. But the thing is, when they would compare, 6 months, 1 year would have passed, and the resentment, the negative emotions, the pain, etc. won't feel the same anymore. They will start only remembering happy and positive moments. My advice, and people struggle with that, don't try to influence, don't try to break them up. If they are a rebound, they will fail. Okay? Because if you interfere especially in the honeymoon phase, if you show up uninvited in their life, you will be perceived as negative, let me have my life, don't try to control me, and you're gonna make it worse. Okay? And if you do that, you're gonna actually eradicate any chance you have of getting back together. Now, what you have to, the thing that you have to focus on is more or less a mindset shift. Of course, right now, you have this anger or jealousy, and you want to be that person, right? Fair enough. Now, ask yourself, really, do you really want to be in their shoes? Because right now, your partner, as we discussed, decided to choose the easy option, the ones where he's not growing or she's not growing. In a way, they are continuing something that was not working. They're deciding, I have no problem, right? This is their rationale. This is the story they're telling themselves. I have no problem. Therefore, that's why I'm starting to date someone, because I have no problem. I'm sure they have insecurities. I'm sure they have potentially insecure attachment style. I'm sure they have communication problem. And they will have those problems in this relationship. On the other hand, you are on a track of growth. Maybe, potentially, because your partner decided to end this relationship, you didn't choose to be on that track. But you're here. You're here with me, trying to figure out how to better yourself, trying to figure out how you can be more successful in terms of building secure relationship in the future. And right now, this is the best place to be. Because while your partner is focusing on distracting themselves, is deciding on it's kind of very mature. Because it's painful, I'm not going to look at it and I'm going to distract myself. I'm going to seek pleasure rather than reflection, rather than introspection. And yes, it's painful, but you are learning, you're growing. And what will happen, usually what happens, especially with my clients, is that when that relationship fails, when this rebound fails, the roles are reversed. Because then your ex will be in need, will be lost, will be confused. And you won't be desperate. You won't be begging for them to return. You would have built resilience. You would know what you want. You would know what you don't want. You would know how to communicate effectively and assess whether, if we want us to have a second chance, you have to meet me where I am right now. And it's not always the case, but sometimes there's an element of, I don't want this anymore. And they shift from I want to get them back. I'm so jealous of this person. 6 months of support and finding the right ways to reframe your thoughts and working at building a secure attachment style. You find yourself as I'm the mature person, I'm the adult, and I don't want to end up with this kid anymore. I expect more from them. I expect more from the relationship. And what will happen is it's the the nail on the coffin, in a way, when you see that your ex is actually not on the path of growth, and that, well, long term it's never going to work out, because they have this sort of fixed mindset. They are repeating the same old patterns again and again and again. And right now, maybe not right now, but in a few days, few weeks, you'll start to figure out, okay, I can't be doing the same things again and again and again and expect a different outcome. That's, by the way, insanity. That's the definition of insanity, according to Einstein. In the next few months, what you have to do, stop focusing on your partner, on your ex, on their rebound. Build a life around you. Not them, you. We don't care about whether they're going to break up. That's about you. That's why it's important to go no contact. That's why it's important also to unfollow them. You're not ever going to learn anything from social media. And you're going to get triggered if you see things, stories, pictures, etc. Building a life around you, it's also about taking care of your mind, of your body. If you want to feel great, take care of your body. Be active. Learn something new. If you want to take care of your mind, journal, speak with a therapist, do mindfulness. Find what works for you, right? Sports, there's like millions of sports. Find the one that works for you. Be active rather than passive. Find your tribe. It's very important. Again, the same way your partner perhaps felt lonely. It's normal to feel lonely after a breakup. But the pain or the problem or the challenge here is how you cope with those things. So find the right approach rather than coping with loneliness by finding and dating a random person. Find your tribe. Friends, family, support system. Again, whatever works for you. Set new goals. Also, what is very difficult when you are facing a situation like that is that we don't necessarily know what we want to do, where we want to go, because there's so many things, there's so many options. We have to recalibrate our lives and so on. So set yourself goals. That's what I do with my clients. Could be personal, could be professional goals, but that helps you to see some form of purpose, some form of progress. Because what you want to do is the same way I described is like, maybe you're here and you feel like I'm stuck. You want to feel like this in 6 months. Could be professional. You want to look back at your life and tell yourself, look what I've done. I've done so much progress. And it's the best feedback that I could get from clients when they email me after we work together or when we're still working together. And they tell me like, I've grown so much. I've made so much progress. And when you feel like this, when you finally look, you have this ability to look back and say, I was this tiny little, kind of person or restricted in my own prison. Now I feel so much bigger. Now I feel so much more confident. That's what you can achieve right now. If you have any question or if you want any sort of course, guide, or whatever that could help you when it comes to dealing with rebound relationship, let me know in the comment section. I will create something over the summer. I know some of you are interested in this specific situation, and I would like to serve you. So let me know in the comment section what would help you, and perhaps share your stories and use this thread to help each other. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next time.